Okay. And this is something I actually like to do. And we're going to take the solemn oath. Raise your right hand. Okay, I like this. As is I. Your names, please. Do solemnly swear, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Oregon and the laws thereof, and the policies of Three Rivers School District during my term. I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the officer of school board member to the best of my abilities. I do. Okay. That's good. Thank you. And congratulations. Okay, so now we have a full board again. So the first thing we have to do is we need a motion to approve the July 9th, 2025 board agenda. So that is today's board agenda.
I move to approve the July 9th, 2025 board agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Is there no discussion? May I have a vote, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. And so our next item is the consent agenda, which is really, really dull. So I need a motion to approve or disapprove the consent agenda.
Where is the consent agenda?
It is number 5 on our Three Rivers Regular School District.
Item 5A and B.
Oh, so it's the whole thing.
Minutes, grant requests is what's under the consent agenda. Okay, do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have discussion? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor say aye. All
Aye.
those opposed, no.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it was unanimous. And our next one is the annual school board organization. So we take nominations for the board chair and the vice chair. We'll do the board chair first.
Pat should be the board chair.
I nominate Pat to be the board chair, or I second that.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like this privilege?
Nobody wants the job.
Well, then, if there's any discussion?
Do you want the job?
Yeah, I know. It's my one good claim to life.
Put yourself to a vote.
Anyway, let's have a vote then. All those in favor of Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Aye.
If you say aye, I'll say aye. Aye.
Okay. The next one is more interesting because I find it almost impossible to choose. And that is vice chair. Do we have nominations for vice chair?
I'll do it if people want.
Okay, so we have one any other
I
nominations?
want to ask who is interested in being vice chair,
That's a good question.
who really feels that calling.
I would also step up and do it if you guys so chose.
Okay, so we have
I so choose.
do we have a nomination? Did we do a second for you?
Oh, I have no idea. I've done lots of board chairing, but
I don't think anybody's actually been officially nominated. We just
Okay,
said.
So I think we should take a vote, I guess, on the terms of who was nominated first. All those in favor of, is there anything else? I don't.
We didn't actually, nobody actually nominated
There
yet,
hasn't
so.
been a single motion to
Okay.
nominate.
Thank you. I've
So you
never
need-
done this in my life, so
We need
thank
a-
you for
I
everybody.
nominate Mariah Rossi
There you go.
to be vice chair.
You have a first, you need a second.
I'm the first.
I'll second. Does that hurt your feelings?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't think anybody's feelings should be hurt on this. It's extra work. So, yeah, and I respect you all. So it's, or we're going to have a vote. We have two candidates.
No, we have one.
One candidate. Mariah?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm not willing to nominate myself. It just will fill in if
Okay.
needed.
Well, it's, we like you a lot, Cameron. Okay, so we have one nomination. All those in favor of voting for Mariah, say aye.
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 All those opposed? None. Congratulations. So that out of the way. We have
Annual
Com-
organization, B.
annual board organization resolutions 25 till 26. And you are going to read those.
Yes, sir, if you'd like.
Okay.
So the annual organization resolution for 25-26 is an action item. Designate the administrative officer. Superintendent Dave Valenzuela is the board's administrative officer. Oregon statute specifies that the board shall designate a chief administrative officer of the district as district clerk. Deputy clerk, Deputy Superintendent Casey Alderson is designated as deputy clerk. And designated budget officer, Superintendent Dave Valenzuela is a designated budget officer. Designated board's official agent, Superintendent Dave Valenzuela will be the official agent for all matters dealing with federal and state local government agencies and other education agencies. Policy and practice designates this authority to the superintendent. And E, designate depositories for school funds, Wells Fargo, Local Government Investment Pool, Washington Federal, Umpqua Bank, Evergreen Federal, Josephine County Treasurer, and Jackson County Treasurer, and all other local financial institutions which meet Oregon collateral requirements are the designated depositories. There are existing depositories that have been carried over to the new fiscal year, and authorization to invest surplus funds. Superintendent David Valenzuela and Deputy Superintendent Casey Alderson will be authorized to invest surplus funds according to school district policy and state law and any of the above mentioned authorized depositories. Authorized facsimile signature of custodial funds, Superintendent Dave Valenzuela and Deputy Superintendent Casey Alderson. Facsimile signatures will be authorized, and designated auditors. So the Kostromaka, Donnelly and Peels CPA LLP is designated as our financial auditors for the 25-26 school year. Designated legal counsel, the Hungerford Law Firm LLP and Sorensen, Ransom, and Ferguson LLP are designated as our legal counsel for the 25-26 school year. Finally, review status of local public contract review board and rules. The Three Rivers School Board of Directors will act as the review board for the 25-26 school year. So that has to be approved.
Well, I move we approve the annual board organization resolutions for 2025 to 2026. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? No discussion. May I have a vote, please? All those saying aye?
Aye.
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 Any nays? No nays. It's, so we have some action items.
No community comments, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, community comments was hiding at the bottom, it's number
It did.
7, which is 2 words, sorry, people. So, do we have the list of community commenters?
We have another one out there.
It's, come on up and bring it to me. It's okay, that's, I'm gonna throw you in the back, because you're late. Okay, the first one we have here is Judy Ahrens. And she says, welcome new board members. Yeah.
There, no, not the green. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, gotcha. Anyway, welcome new board members, et cetera. Welcome aboard, and we know you're going to do a great job. What I'd like to do is just kind of do an overview, because we're come September and everything, what's going on. But I want to start with the type of books that we have, that the kids have available for reading. They should be family-oriented. Let me repeat that. They should be family-oriented. So I don't know where we stand with the book Tricks right now. That was very graphic. Hopefully that's not even in the library, more for maybe just even one person to check out, because we know what happens, how kids circulate, even if there's only one checkout. So we want to be careful on that. And I want to get back to our basics in patriotism and loving this country. As you know, there in New York City, we have a communist that's running for mayor of New York City, and Mandani. And I'm not going to say because of what faith he is, that's irrelevant. But what is relevant is, why is a communist running for New York City? This is what's been, I'm getting the secondhand information from Newsmax that I watch, which is pretty reliable information. And the reason I say that is that, why is the city, why are people so excited about him? I want to go back to our basics, education. If people really like public education and as far as patriotism and what we stand for and the freedoms we have, this guy would be non-existent. Let me repeat that. This guy would be non-existent. So we have to be careful where we're headed with our education department. There's a book, and I didn't bring it tonight, I forgot, by Orlin Cole. She's written several. She's quite the great author. She lives in Northern California. And one of her books that she read had to do with students being indoctrinated. I'll bring it maybe next time and maybe let some of these books float around. But it shows you there's a systematic way that they indoctrinate the kids. You take away the ABCs and you incorporate sex education. So then our kids are left with whatever. And right now, as a state, we are, in the nation, we are second to bottom in academics, education. Let me repeat that. That's important. We're second to bottom, Oregon, the state of Oregon, with our public education students that are second to bottom. I'd like to see this new board. Let's see if we can change that. Let's see if we can make a difference in the other 36 counties. Is that how we have 37? The remaining counties here. And let's see if we can make a difference so we can be the role model for the rest of them and say academic is important. The other things, you know, can go way on the bottom. But we want to make sure and our kids have family values here. How am I doing on time? Is it? Am I? Oh, keep on going. Oh, okay. So getting back to the basics, what are the basics? Just back to reading. Like I say, we're on the bottom. Back to writing, having good writing skills. Kids are texting all this stuff. Let's get back to penmanship. I think the state recently, the time's up now? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much.
It's nice to see you. I said it's nice to see you. Oh, okay. Our next speaker is Olivia Herrera. Oliva, I'm sorry.
I have nothing prepared. I basically came to personally welcome Rick Nelson and Mariah Rossi to the school board. This special election was very important to a lot of local residents in rural Grants Pass, and I'm sure throughout the county. And it warms us all that you have taken your seats and your oath today. And we thank you for your willingness and dedication to sacrifice your time away from your family. It's not like it's a really good paid position or anything. And your efforts and to be at the front lines of a lot of controversial subjects and to stand for what's right for the public and for what we hope for positive change, you know, in our schools. We hope to see our kids prevail and get better and come together, have more fun, improve their grades, and we know that you guys will be a great asset to help lead in those things. And I just wanted to thank God for appointing you guys and placing you on this school board. Thank you guys for letting me speak.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Margie Wilkie.
Hi, I'm Margie Wilkie, and I don't live in the district. I'm part of this, I live in the county, but part of the city district. But I have grandchildren that are in your school district. And first of all, I want to thank you guys for running and for getting elected. That's a big feat. So, but I have deep concerns for my grandchildren. that I spend time with. Their parents are busy and couldn't be here, but as a past educator, I have real concerns for them. My one that's in middle school, he's, there's a lot of bullying, and that's an issue out in Illinois Valley. And then, he's doing better. And then I have a 4th grader, and she's this past year, we've had a lot of conversations about the books and the health education, which I thought was really interesting. She'd like to come and speak with you guys in the future, because the things that she's being taught about not having sex and wearing condoms and how to put them on and all this stuff is irrelevant to her. When I asked her if they also taught her about how to prevent head lice or scabies, any of those communicable diseases that children often get, she said no, they never tell her how to do that, but she knows people that have head lice. So I think we just need to get our priorities back in order with age appropriateness. Also, I have concerns that they're not really learning to read very well, and there's also new studies out about cursive, that cursive actually enhances the cognitive understanding and brain development. And so by throwing that out of the schools, in the future, these future generations will not even be able to read our Declaration of Independence or Constitution. Therefore, we're looking at communism and socialism very, very quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our next guest is Mr. Stephen Raycroft. Raycraft. I keep working on it. I'm sorry. The lady wants to give up our secret code.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, board members and superintendent. Apologies for not making the swearing in. To be honest, I left my teeth at home and got halfway here and had to go home because I speak with a profound lisp without my teeth. So my apologies, but I have a good excuse this time anyway. This is a reminder to the school board, not that you need it, but we're in the middle of a political, religious, and ideological battle here in Josephine County, Three Rivers, and across this country and this state. I wanted to start by quoting Edmund Burke, who said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." I was just online today searching around, and I found a report on the NEA, National Education Association convention this month in Portland. And one of the things they did was they cut ties with the Anti-Defamation League over Israel support. They no longer support Israel. What they said was that they are dropping any affiliation with. They accused the New York-based Jewish civil rights group of using the term anti-Semitism to punish any and all. So there's your NEA at work. The Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education commented and said, if the NEA spent as much time focused on improving literacy and math instruction for students as it does on ideological and partisan grandstanding, student achievement might not be at a historic low. So at this convention, delegates rearranged the 4-day meetings, typical business schedule to vote on similar items together, and clear time to devote the last day of training in organizing advocacy and protest strategies in their home states. NEA again. More than a third of the delegates are people of color, and they urge members to fight the Trump administration's directives against diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and the programs in their schools. We can't allow Trump or anyone else to reduce these sacred values to a simple 3-letter slur. I could go on. There's a lot more. The NEA is the enemy of the families and of religious values in this country. I don't mean to say that all the teachers adhere to NEA here in our district, but it's problematic when you see this sort of ideology coming down the pipe from the Teachers Association and from the state of Oregon. So again, this is an ideological battle. I wish you all the best. I'm praying for you guys. Do a good job, and thanks.
Thank you. So,
As part of the organizational meeting, we
Yes.
need to approve the schedule for the year.
it's no problem. We have I'm asking for a motion to approve our board schedule for the year.
I move to approve the school board meeting schedule 25-26.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? Do we have a vote? Let's vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 And no nays? Okay, we're good.
Okay, back at it.
I'm not back on the normal schedule. Action item A is Illinois Valley High School Vice Principal Erica Butler has requested board approval for the proposal to rename the new athletic building to the J. Miller Athletic Building. And I'm sure you can expound on this.
I sure can. So Jay Miller is an icon in the Illinois Valley. The Miller family, huge piece of the community out there. Jay Miller passed away a couple years ago. And I'm just going to read what Miss Butler put on here. And this is about one paragraph of a book that could be written about the guy and the impact that he had on that community. Mr. Miller started the youth wrestling program in Illinois Valley in 1977, coached at the youth, middle, and high school levels for nearly 40 years. His wrestlers won over 60 district titles, 8 state champions, and over 50 state placers wrestled for Mr. Miller. 2006, he was named OSAA 3A State Coach of the Year and was named the District Coach of the Year 5 times during his career. In 2007, he received the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service to Wrestling Award. Mr. Miller has had a positive impact on the youth in the Illinois Valley as a mentor and as a coach. And so they're requesting to name the new athletic building that was just completed this last year at Illinois Valley High School in his honor. And I'm sure that there's quite a bit of community support along with the committee here. But it is, if you know the guy, he was a friend to many people in the Valley, and a father figure, a friend, and known as coach to probably 3/4 of that community at some point,
So
including
his first
Dave.
name was changed to Coach.
Yes,
Yes.
he's known as coach.
Well, I will entertain a motion concerning this matter.
Well, I wanted to make
sorry.
or ask a question first. What is the current name? Because it says to rename.
That's just the name of the form. It's actually the naming of, so the request for naming of or renaming. So
Or renaming. So it doesn't have a name yet, Nancy. It was just,
Okay, this says
Building.
rename. Okay,
Yeah.
just curious.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
entertaining a motion here.
I would say, if you knew him, you would understand why this is a big deal to the community. He's just an all-around nice guy.
yeah.
Okay.
I do make that motion, that we,
I second it.
Okay,
Do
any
the thing.
discussion?
It
Okay,
sounds like a great way to honor this man, and even though I never got to know him, it sounds like he was very special to the community, so
yeah.
I'm glad we're able to do this.
Okay, so all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anybody who opposes it, say no, please. So it passes. Item B, Director Robert Sanders is requesting approval for the Three Rivers School District Salto Access Control System Project. This is a grant funded, and the proposal totaling $491,544.54 is attached. This is too obtuse. Could somebody please explain this?
Okay, so, actually it was on, but the mic was not, you got me. Oh, that's good times. So we were awarded a grant, Jessica Durant applied for a grant to enhance safety in our district. And our path in improving safety is to implement this
access control system. And so this is going to impact in some form every building across the district by adding kind of like you've probably seen like card readers and things like that that can open doors and manage access for the community. You know, as community members come in to utilize our facility, it will improve management of that. And it's in my opinion, is a pretty exciting project. Our Jessica Falkenhagen had been a part of this. She's the safety committee. What's her title? Safety committee director. Safety committee director, and so she was involved in this this process to implement this technology in the district, and I think it's going to be a real big improvement. It's also something that's expandable. While we can't touch every single door across the district, we're going to do quite a few, and then our staff will be trained in how to implement the hardware so that we can slowly continue to improve the safety and add more access control in each of our buildings.
Does anybody have any question for Mr. Saunders?
I do. So is there going to be any ongoing maintenance costs for this system after the initial install? And if so, do you have an estimate of what that cost would be?
There is an ongoing cost for, not maintenance costs, but we have a subscription to allow for mobile credentials. So rather than having a physical card, you can use your cell phone to open the door. So that's a low subscription service that will be budgeted for, like many of our other subscriptions. But in terms of like any kind of maintenance fees or anything like that, that's not a factor with this particular brand.
And do you know how much that ongoing subscription service costs?
Yeah, the subscription, I think it's around $3,000 a year. Yes, it's $3,000 a year for mobile credentials.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm entertaining a motion right now.
I wanted to ask, were bids given, or
Yes.
was that an option?
Yep. So we went through the RFP process. We had a walkthrough where there were about, I believe, 4 companies that came down to look at the site, look at our proposal, and ultimately we had 2 that proposed or submitted a bid, and our committee sat down and evaluated, scored them out, and Advanced Locking Solution, who comes with impeccable references, recently did some work for Ashland, which we got to take a look at. And so we're really confident about this company and the work that they do and their knowledge in this particular solution.
And which schools are going to be getting this technology, and you know, is it just going to be like the main door entrance, or you know, what entrances are going to be able to have this technology?
Sure. So every school will have this technology. The main door is where we're going to start, and then we decided to look at other gyms where we get a lot of community access, and we want to make it more manageable and not have to worry about, you know, loaning keys out, bringing them back, you know, all that kind of stuff. So at minimum, every building will have like their main door and a few other doors, including like gyms or other spaces that would be utilized by the community.
Where did the grant come from?
I'll take that one. It's called the Stronger Connection Grant. It was a bipartisan bill passed by the U.S. government as a result of the Uvalde shooting. Money was given to each state who held a competitive grant process. We applied and received the grant. And all of our charter and private schools also had an opportunity to participate in the grant. Some did, some didn't, and they received an amount if they chose to participate. equivalent to the number of students that they had enrolled.
How many other school districts out of the 197 in the state have got this?
60. I don't know how much they've spent, but that's how
So
many
it's
received
different
it.
for each district.
It was
According-
different for each district. The most I believe that a school district received was similar to ours, around 650,000, give or take a little bit, I believe was about the range. And I don't know the other 59 districts that got it. I don't know their names. So, but it's on the ODE website if you wanted to look.
Okay, are we through with questions? Because I've misinterpreted it 4 times. Yeah, so are we, I'm trying, I'm being polite here.
Thank you for asking. In that case, I don't.
Yes. Would somebody make a nomination or for approval? Excuse me. A motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
I second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those against? None. And for now, it's number C, which is to me the most interesting item of the evening. And it was requesting approval for a new charter school, and I will have Dave explain this to you. Do we have anybody else that's explaining it? You look like you can.
I think Travis is here. Yeah, come on up. Travis has been, Travis Osborne has been doing the majority of the work along with Jessica on this proposal. I'm in full support and really excited about it. I'm going to have him explain what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, I got it? All right. Okay, so this charter is Applegate, a virtual school, okay, virtual academy, and we've looked at ways that we can grab specifically K through 5 kids, because we have SOSA right now that's handles a lot of virtual for 6 through 12. But we have students leaving the district that are homeschooled, so they're not in our schools, but they're within our district. And there's 2 main virtual schools out there, Scappoose Online and NISA, who are grabbing those homeschoolers within our area and taking them and running a virtual school through what's called Open Ed. And it's a curriculum that has many different options, so families can choose the curriculum they want to do with their students. So we're looking at our best option. How can we, I guess, combat that? And so we put together the Applegate Virtual Academy, which is going to be similar to those academies, where we're going to use Open Ed and offer that to our homeschool cohorts out there for that.
You say on there it's going to increase the enrollment of 3-year school district. Can you talk about that? I mean, we're capturing students we wouldn't otherwise capture, and what's the benefit to the district? I don't quite understand all that. Maybe you could
Sure.
take a few moments.
Right now, we're going to cap that at 200 to begin with, just to start small and work from there. But essentially, I'm not sure the specific numbers that are leaving from the homeschool, but it's in the hundreds that we have access to here. And so that would add to our ADM and essentially bringing in funds to the district.
It doesn't bring in full funds.
Yeah, and so what I was going to ask, what
What's
the follow-on with that is.
So essentially, using Open Ed, it costs us $595 per student, correct, Jessica? Per student, per month, and they run the curriculum. They use their teachers. Everything's ran through their options, and in the past, instead of having one option of curriculum, they can choose. The family gets to choose. So for math, there might be 5 options that they get to choose. For English, there's 5 options, something like that.
So the net fiscal impact to the district is positive, I think?
Yeah, so one of the things that we know about Three Rivers School District is we have roughly 350 to 450 registered homeschool students. So those are just the students that are registered. We know there are a lot more unregistered homeschool students out there. And they're deciding to access the programs that Travis described that are outside of our district. So a student that lives a mile from this office will enroll in NISA's online virtual school, and NISA across the state gets that money. So we are just creating a similar opportunity for the district to recoup some of that ADM. And then eventually, once we are realizing that positive income, where we're receiving more of that money, we can expand and create more options that better serve the students in our community. Because there's homeschool students that are making that decision for a lot of different reasons, and students that have never touched, set foot in a public school. And so we're just trying to create opportunities for those students. And we know that we have a declining enrollment issue, and so we're trying to rectify that with this.
And
Would
do
there-
the students applying have to pay for this?
No, it's public.
Nope, it's public.
Would there be any obligation to register?
Well, they have to register for school, and they register through Open Ed.
Yeah, they're registered through Open Ed, and then essentially, like, for example, last week, Scappoose had 15 of our students transfer out that were homeschooled. So that's an example of just 1 week of Scappoose. Go ahead, Steph.
And just to kind of, it's a little bit hard to wrap our minds around, but it used to be that we had brick and mortar schools and we had online schools, and then we had homeschool. And what has happened in the last 2 or 3 years, because all the transfers come through my office and I sign away every single one of these kids, and we keep track of how many kids, is what we're seeing these last couple years are that the homeschool community has shifted too. So it used to be homeschool meant you were actually schooling at home, and maybe you had a little cooperative, and maybe, there was a group of parents that were working and sharing that, but it really was home-based. And so now what we're seeing is that those homeschooled families are reaching out to online schools. And so Open Ed offers, as Travis was saying, a really wide curriculum and lots of flexibility for a parent, to decide how they want and what they want their students to learn. However, when there are our families live in our district and they're signing up for, I don't know if you know where Nissa is, but Nissa, Oregon, right? It's about as far away as you get from here, but those families are signing up because it is online and because that gives more tools and more resources to our homeschool families that live here in order to be able to educate their students.
And with some of these students, during COVID, we had an elementary option for online, and so some of those families left, so I reached out to a few of those, and then I've been teaching long enough that I have students that are having kids, and so the ones that were leaving for this virtual school, I asked, hey, if we had an option similar in our district, and every single one of them said, yeah, we'd love to have something locally if possible that we control via our house, and not go to Scappoose or Nissa.
How do people find out about this?
So go ahead, Dave.
We're going to advertise like crazy. We're going to get this, if it's, if approved by the board today, we're going to get that word out that there is a local virtual option right here in Three Rivers School District that people can take advantage of.
And if you're on social media at all, you'll see Open Ed advertisements a lot. And so when families reach out to them, they would essentially filter them to register through our district instead of the others.
So if we had 200 students, what would the fiscal impact to the district be? We'd get 200 times what?
595?
That's 595, is that right?
595 per student.
Well, that's what we pay
Per month for cost.
It's roughly, we will receive approximately 40% of the ADM and not have to provide a teacher, curriculum, or any of that stuff really. So they're just.
So it's a no-brainer.
So what is
Kind of.
Three Rivers' responsibility as far as this, if we were to approve this new charter school, what is it that Three Rivers is providing?
We have to report the attendance, performance, all that stuff. Open Ed so collects all that information, and then we are the school district responsible for reporting all that to the state. So these students are essentially public school students that the state wants to know how they're doing, are they coming to school, all that stuff. So our responsibility is to make sure that we curate all that information and provide it to the state.
And we meet with their, I think they call it their partner or whatever, that liaison for them. It can be weekly, it can be whenever, to check the progress, because that's one thing we're going to check on. It's going to be me. Hey, how are these kids progressing? And if not, what's the issue? How can we help with that?
Is this charter school, is it high school only or all grades?
It's going to be K through 8.
I think it's a positive thing. The only thing I have a problem with is the state of Oregon. Will there be requirements, for instance, to take the sex ed stuff in kindergarten and 5th grade? Will there be a requirement to explore gender identification and stuff like that?
With it being a public school, everything's similar as if we ran it here, with the opt-out process being the same way. Same thing with statewide testing. They'll have statewide testing with the option to
But
opt
if you
out.
can choose the subject, the classes yourself,
Yeah, they still have to take there are parameters where they have to take certain subjects. Within homeschool is the same way. If you go through ESD, you have to take, certain different curriculums, but they can opt out of that for sure.
without.
And they get to choose which one, so,
Right.
yeah.
And Mariah, just to finish, the other piece that we do provide is special education.
Oh, yes.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Do we have a motion on this particular issue for the formation of AVA, a virtual charter academy sponsored by our district?
I motion to approve.
Do we-
Charter school.
Do we have a second? We have
Second.
We have both. Now for the vote, no discussion, any discussion?
I think it'd be a great idea as long as there's opt-out available for these parents, so they're not forced to take something they don't want to have in there.
Required by law, actually.
Opt-out is opt-out.
That's right, and you have that form in your.
So,
We'll have to see that in your booklet.
Let's take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. And I'm
Nay.
an aye. Okay, well, we have next, communication to the board, read only. And it says payable June 2025.
Typically on your board meeting, you'll have communication to the board. It will have coaches, it will have some staffing. So this is just something for you guys to review and read when you get the agenda.
Okay, so we have no action on this, it's just you informing us. Okay, so the next is suggestions on future items.
And I actually have one, Pat,
Okay,
if
I'm
I
sorry.
may. And I heard a lot of discussion this morning around the governor's executive order around cell phone use in schools. And so I just wanted to explain how that's going to go in Three Rivers School District until the board takes action on a policy. So each district is required to have a policy adopted by October 31st, and that would take effect by January 1st. We're of the mind that we don't want to start the school year and change mid-year. So a few of the things that have to happen, the policy may exclude certain pieces, but it really is a bell-to-bell policy. It has to provide information on what the school's going to do if a student is in violation of the policy. So it can't just say the cell phones are off and away during the school day. What happens if a student brings it out during lunch or passing times? We have to identify that. So we will be working on that piece and hopefully have a model policy to you by our September meeting for you to discuss and use. Now, we don't want to start the school year and then have to change gears. So we have currently our policy JFCEB, personal electronic devices and social media students policy. And in that policy it states, personal electronic devices shall be turned off during those times designated by the school and as required by administrative regulations. That sentence exists in our current policy, and our intent is to exercise that sentence and that sentence in isolation, essentially saying that cell phones will not be allowed, and this policy allows us to do that. It's just not very articulate, and it doesn't provide consequence, and those kind of things, and it doesn't specify where does a cell phone go when the bell rings. Is it under student control? Is it under school control? What happens? And so those things will be outlined in policy. But I wanted the board to understand that we're going to begin the school year with a bell-to-bell, no cell phone policy that we can actually exercise. It's just a little flimsy, but we'll get it rectified by our September meeting. So we'll provide you with the model policy, then the board can have discussion around that and make some changes and tweaks, and then we'll adopt it. I think it's not too wild to think that we could have it adopted by the 31st and moving forward, so.
If, this is an important issue to me and a lot of board members, if we want a special meeting to adopt the policy before the school year begins, I would not object to a special meeting. just involving that policy. And then it can proceed smoothly from day one.
Well, we can do that. I don't know that we'll have a model policy by the 21st, or the 28th, excuse me, when students arrive. But we certainly are going to over-communicate this. We'll use the governor's executive order to send home to every family this piece of the policy. So it's up to the board, obviously.
If you do have time, I think the board would be available for such a meeting.
Okay.
So we're giving you options.
Great. I just wanted the board to understand how we were going to address that and not have to change gears. Like after Christmas break, all of a sudden, phones are gone. You know, we're not doing that, so.
Will our librarian's report be done by that date, our next meeting's date?
By the September, I don't know. Possible. We'll see.
Can we throw it on the agenda if it's available in anticipation?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, let's throw it in anticipation. Does anybody else have anything they wish to discuss next meeting?
I would like to take a look at the curriculum material selection policy. What is it, IIAA? Is that the right policy?
The reconsideration policy? Is that
What? No, well, the actual selection policy, right? Isn't that what it is?
It might be IIAA. We can look it up.
Are you looking at the instructional materials?
Mm-hmm. But doesn't the library material fall under those instructional material as well? I think.
It does. I was wondering, we thought about cleaning up that process and making it more streamlined and not so onerous. Also, at the last meeting, there was a vote taken on tricks. And the board was, I'm not sure what they decided. By doing nothing, they decided to keep the book in the library. That's the way I
voted
understand.
to keep it.
We voted to do nothing for reasons that a parent did not bring it. It was not brought properly.
But
any parent and anybody listed in the legislation can bring it and we can rehear it. And in the meantime, we have a librarian going through the books who, if the book is gone by the next meeting, or the meeting after that, there's no reason to mess with tricks again, and it can die a graceful death.
as I recall, there's a lot of consternation about what the governor had signed. The meeting was on the 11th. The governor didn't sign that bill till the 17th.
I don't think it was an entire bill.
Well, it was an order.
She was doing an amendment. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, the thing about the parents bringing the complaint was in the bill and not amended. It was there before. At least that's my memory.
Well, the rules formally said any resident of the district.
Well,
and so I don't know how they can put a rule in and have a back date 9 months.
I would just politely, we can discuss it at the next meeting, but because it's an issue that may disappear on its own, and that would be, I just think it would be a better use of our time to see if it's just going to be gone. And if it's just going to be gone, we can find out and move on. If it's there, we can discuss it.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have anything else that anybody wishes to bring up? Okay, I am, our future meeting will be September 17th, 2025, here at the district office at 5 p.m. We're going earlier now. And so somebody please move to adjourn the meeting.
No, you just adjourn it.
You just adjourn it? You don't have to move it?
That's your job.
Okay, well, power. We are hereby adjourned, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys. Great
This
day.
is a great meeting.